Watch his safety in the middle. He flips and plays man coverage and carries with him. And essentially what happens is your opponent's going to have to throw over to this middle guy right here. So you can see right here, he's going to, if he decides to throw that deep post, which essentially is the money route, essentially he's going to be throwing into double coverage. Guys, once again, it's Prometheus coming in with a defensive strategy for a very popular money play scheme that's getting used online by a lot of top Madden players, pro players, and stuff like this. Now, this is just a strategy. This is a way to go ahead and shut down your opponent. It's not necessarily end-all be-all because most opponents will use this particular money play as their base play, and then they'll start adjusting if their opponent starts adjusting. So obviously the most important thing is having some type of a defense set up to shut this down and start anticipating what your opponent's going to do. And some people just don't have a defense ready to go and shut this play down. So I went in the lab, I started looking for some specific defenses to go ahead and shut this play down, and I think I found something that's going to put you in a position to get more stops and force your opponent to start thinking their strategy and trying to make sure that they beat your defense. So this gets you a step ahead. So this is a formation that's out of 3 different playbooks, the Dolphins in Carolina and also in the Colts. And the formation we'll be looking at is the bunch offset. Bunch obviously is one of the plays that a lot of formation a lot of top Madden players have been using for a long time. But the particular play that you'll see a lot online, a lot in MUT gameplay is this particular play. It's the gun bunch offset double post. And one of the reasons why this is so effective is because of that red route down to the very bottom. It's an angled post route that kind of gets inside a lot of the stock coverages and basically really makes it difficult to do that. On top of it, with one quick adjustment, you have really fast reads that you can go ahead and do. So let's just go and run this against random defenses. Now, what makes this play tick is that essentially it beats pretty much every single defense out there against your opponent. And the one key adjustment that you do with this particular play is you're going to go ahead and take your inside slot receiver, which is more, and you're going to put him on a drag. And you're going to make your progressions from there. And what makes this play tick is that you've got a nice little underneath mesh concept, where essentially you're attacking the running back, or you've got this route underneath on the back side with the other, that #1 wide receiver. But what really makes this play tick is that route that's highlighted in red. It definitely gets past a lot of the coverages, and a lot of times you'll be able to go and hit that for a big gainer. Also, what's cool about this particular play is that you have these little sideline routes that you can hit against your opponent. So if he's not paying attention, you can get pretty easy completions if he's trying to go ahead and stop those drags underneath. So really the way this play is developed, you've got the simple mesh concept under the middle, which essentially your opponent has to stop the flats. And then you've got the little sideline route that you can hit. And this particular route right here is a fast hitter that you can hit in the flat if he's not paying attention. And what happens is it eventually turns up and gets past the coverages. And then on top of it, if he starts playing down to take away those flats, this route will get over the middle. So that's what's cool about these sort of plays, that it's a very hard play to stop. It's one quick adjustment, and it's a great quick snap money play that you can use on 3rd downs. So in the lab, what I've discovered is the best defense to use is going to be a basic cover 2, a Tampa 2 type defense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use a nickel defense, a nickel 3-3-5, because it allows me to put in safeties at the linebacker position. So I'm going to put a very fast safety in the middle linebacker position. One of the most important things too that I discovered is that you want to try to avoid from using any kind of zone drops. So your flat zones, your curl flats, you don't want to have any adjustments or have those adjusted. You want to leave them as default, because when you leave them as default, basically what they'll do is they won't adjust or affect the middle read if you go ahead and change your zone drops. So you want to run this as a default defense and go from there. So let's just show you this quick setup. So this is what your opponent's going to do. They're going to create the mesh concept underneath and do Parker, and then you got your routes like that. All you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have cloud flats on the outside, and you're going to take your outside linebackers or safeties and put them into hard flats. So it's going to look kind of like you've got double coverage in the same area, but it's not necessarily the case. Another thing you can do too is just slide these guys over. Now, you're going to use this guy right here, Chandler. He's going to be your defensive back. You can take this guy and actually slide him over to this side. You can have the play flipped if you want to. But my responsibility is just to kind of go ahead and force my opponent to stay away from the fast throws, so you can actually go ahead and scrape over, and then what you want to do is come back in this passing lane, and then you want to come down again, play this area right here. So let's just go and watch this. I'm going to snap the ball. Hopefully we don't get too much block shed going on. I'm going to go ahead and do QB spy so I don't have too much block shed. And let's snap the ball. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take away our opponent's reads and then wait for those guys to bounce back up. But I want to show you what happens with the middle linebacker with this big of the defense and how it's set up. So watch the middle linebacker, this guy. His responsibility is not to get beat over the middle. So watch what happens. He comes out, he's playing this passing lane. So if your opponent throws this ball, he has to throw it really, really early. He's going to have to throw it right here. He's going to have to thread it right there. And most times what's going to happen is it's going to throw into this passing lane. But watch this safety in the middle. He flips and plays man coverage and carries with them. And essentially what happens is your opponent's going to have to throw over to this middle guy right here. So you can see right here, he's going to, if he decides to throw that deep post, which essentially is the money route, essentially he's going to be throwing into double coverage. Next thing you got is you got this guy right over here that gets carried by the cloud flat, and the cloud flat is going to go ahead and chase him with that. And then your route, which would be the running back route that you pretty much want to stay with, he's going to go ahead and go right into this hard flat over here and actually go ahead and get taken away. And that allows me to go ahead and play the middle of the field, because this drag right here is going to get stuck, and then also this cloud flat's going to go ahead and play this route right here. So without your opponent making any kind of adjustments with this coverage, and he just runs this as a standard stock play, this guy right here, because he shifted over, is just going to completely fall in and go ahead and take away that route right there and shut that down. And as a result, you'll probably get a lot of coverage sacks, where your opponent will try to scramble, and you're going to get yourself you're going to get a lot of stops or force them to throw in the middle of the field. But once again, you want to go ahead and take away his fast reads, and that's what's going to frustrate him a lot. Now I want to show you, a lot of people like to run coverages shells like this, where they do flat drops at 20, they put their curl flats at 10, and this is, when you do this, it really messes up this defensive shell and allows you to get popped over the middle. So this is typically what a lot of players do. They've got those cloud flats out there, and they've got their hard flats out there with their zone drops and their mid read. But watch the mid read, watch how he gets dumbed out. So we still got the coverage taking away the flats, but this guy actually slides over a lot quicker. He gets a little bit higher depth because he's at 10 yards depth. This guy plays it perfectly, but that means there's going to be a little bit more area that you got to cover. And you can watch this guy actually slides out at his depth, and he's going to come down, so your opponent can essentially go and hit that. But I want you to watch this guy. This is your middle read. This is the guy that was taking away that money post route. But look, he just dumbs out. I didn't even touch my yellow zones, but because you touch your other zones, he dumbs out and he doesn't fall into the passing lane, nor does he chase this guy. So now your opponent has the ability to go and expose you over the top and get a big completion. So that opens up the passing lane, and that's why you want to try to stop doing any kind of zone drops against your opponent. I'm going to go and just make a quick adjustment. I'm going to take my curl flats and drop them to 0. Once again, I'm just going to go and use these guys right here. And even with these guys at 0, you can see the zone drops don't play correctly, and you're going to give up. You'll give up passing lanes to your opponent. So you can see how this guy just completely jets out to the sideline, giving a kind of a big wide open passing lane over here. This guy floats up and then kind of floats back again. So he's not playing the sideline. Same thing over here. Watch how this guy just floats up immediately into his area. And then this guy actually plays this route perfectly. But you can see you've got larger passing lanes that are available to your opponent if you go ahead and set your zone drops. And once again, this guy was carrying when you play the default stock drops, but now he's not carrying at all. That's going to take me away. I have to go ahead and carry with this guy to go ahead and stop that. So you want to drop those defaults for this particular play. Just leave everything stock, and that's going to go ahead and cause your opponent to have a lot of issues and problems with his money play that he's probably used to just popping people with his reads really easy. So guys, if you like this tip, go ahead and smash that like button. Also subscribe if you're new to my channel. I try to go ahead and break down different ways to, offensive schemes. I'll try to show you guys stuff that I find that are non-meta, and also go ahead and look for defenses to go ahead and slow down a lot of these meta offenses. So if you know any particular offenses that you see or particular plays and you're looking for a defense to stop it, let me know. I'll go in the lab and try to figure out some ways to stop it. So once again, thank you for your support, guys. Until next time.